Wow. Boys, that new intro is sick. And guys, I am happy to be back. It is us with Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. Had to comment on the new intro. It is fire. You have myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with our normal host, JD from Line Movers. We also have Ben, who is here. 1 second, guys, because we have the little teaser of the game pulling on the bottom. That is my fault. Let me pull it off there. But we are back. It's Monday. We have 2 Monday night football games. I'm excited to be back. I missed you, boys. I am here. Ben, thank you for stepping up. You did a fantastic job hosting on Friday. I was here watching just to make sure you did a great job. And per usual, you knocked it out of the park. So I appreciate you, boys. But guys, like I said, it is Monday. We are back. We have a bunch of comments already from our YouTube. If you guys are already subscribed to our YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. It is the best YouTube out there. Tons of exclusive content. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button. Bill is here. We appreciate you, Bill. It was a great weekend. Let's get this money. Nick Castrucci, who's here every day. We appreciate you, brother. Happy Monday, especially to Ben. How about those Jets?
You know what? I can't believe Nick brought this up. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was going to actually, before Nick ever commented, I was going to give a formal apology to both Jammer and Nick for Friday when I took the Jets. And you know what? I was going to own up to it before you even commented and say I was completely wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. Rodgers has literally no excuses anymore and still found a way to blow the game with 2 bad picks. Well, not 2 bad picks. One of them was on Wilson. But, yep, Nick, your Steelers are legit. That defense is legit. I was wrong about Russell Wilson. So props to you guys.
You're not alone. You're not alone. A lot of people watched that game. In the week upcoming, we all saw what Justin Fields did as the starter for the Steelers team. So you weren't alone. I thought it was the wrong decision, but that's why Mike Tomlin is paid the big bucks, and we are here talking about the game, not making these crucial decisions.
Yes. Good point.
We still have Jay in the comment as well. Says we are all goats. We appreciate you, Jay. Thank you for tuning in per usual, brother. Well, let's go through our normal weekend recap. JD, how was your weekend? Excited to be back on with you.
Yeah, man, definitely. This weekend was definitely good. It was nice and chill. Which actually was a big change. So it was nice just to be able to chill. But tonight we have 2 actually really good games.
And it's also the calm before the storm. Could not get that phrase out. It's the calm before the storm, gentlemen. We're about to hit NBA season. It is about to be the sports cornucopia of the year. We have everything. Whatever sport you like, essentially, we're about to have. So it's the best time of the year. A great time to jump into Moneyball Metrics Discord. More on that later. But fellas, we still have to go to Ben. Ben, how was your weekend besides that Jets terrible call that you had? I can't say anything. I was on the under, and the Steelers basically beat that themselves. How else was your weekend? Sorry about your Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings dropped to 5-1. It's all right. It was a good game, and you can't complain with that game. The Lions are as legit as they come, so not a bad loss. Props department, we killed it. That Dobbs play I gave out as my favorite prop on the show we hit. Didn't have a great sides day, but UFC card was pretty fun. We hit Rob Font as the plus 425 underdog. That was a nice one. And we hit the max, but lost like 2 units on the card. So it was a back and forth weekend. Not horrible, not great.
Well, the good news is, Ben, you have a chance to finish the weekend strong in the NFL, and that's a great way to jump into the first game we're going to be breaking down, fellas, which is going to be the Ravens, who are going to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Ravens are coming in 4-2 on the year. They are 2-1 on the road, who are taking on the Bucs, who are 4-2 as well, and 2-1 at home. So both teams have identical records for this exact spot and on the season. You guys know I like to look at ESPN BPI just to see what they're predicting, and they have this as a 60-40 split to the Ravens. We all saw what happened last weekend. Ravens, extremely impressive victory over the Washington Commanders. They won that game 30-23. They are coming in off 4 consecutive wins. They have been one of the hottest teams in football. They're taking on a Bucs team that tends to alternate each week how they do. They had an absolutely thrashing victory of the New Orleans Saints last week, 51-27. Week before, they lost to the Falcons, 36-30. Week before, they won 33-16. Week before, they lost 26-7. And the week before, they won 2016. So they're alternating wins and losses every single week. JD, we're going to go over to you. What do you like about this matchup tonight?
These are teams that I feel like we actually talk about every single week. And actually part of that is just because they're on primetime games. And then actually the other part is I actually pick these teams because I feel like I have a good read on actually both of these teams. And for me, this one was a pretty simple bet for me. with these two teams, I've been playing overs. And now they match up, and the matchup again sets up 4-1. To the over this season, the Ravens are 5-1. The Bucks are actually 4-2. So normally at this time of the season, that's normally when numbers have normally caught up. So I would tend to not keep betting that. I would actually normally tend to try to go the actual other way. For this game tonight, I don't think that that's the case though. With how these defenses are, we've talked about it so much. This Ravens pass defense is so bad. After last week, I don't know exactly where they ranked, but actually they were literally worst. And as far as this Bucks defense, as you just talked about, they've allowed points to some really bad teams. And the Ravens offense, we all know they are so good. The Bucks are going to give up points. To me, this Bucks actually offensive line, there's kind of key to actually night. As long as they hold up, the Bucks should actually put up points here. But just as far as numbers, for just raw numbers here, this total should be like a 51.5. So us getting it under that, I absolutely love this.
I like that as well. And I do want to comment on what you said about their pass defense. I quickly looked it up, and you are spot on per usual. The Bucks are coming in at the 29th ranked pass defense in the league right now. They are on average giving up over 250 passing yards per game right now. So they're getting absolutely torched in the air. Exactly what you said. I lean the over as well, but my official play is going to be the Ravens minus the 3.5. I do think this Ravens offense will be able to pass all over the Bucks defense, exactly what JD alluded to. And I just think that this Ravens defense will create one or two more turnovers than the Bucks will be able to create in this game. And because of that, I think that this Ravens team wins by at least a touchdown. I also like the over. Like you said, you made some fantastic points, but my official play is going to be the Ravens minus the 3.5. Let's see a high scoring back and forth game where at the end of the game, the Ravens pull away. So you get that over, I get the Ravens. And Ben, tell us you're either with the over or the Ravens, or we're ending the show right now. What do you got?
Well, I'm on the Ravens, but it just, I tend to struggle with taking Ravens full game all the time. I remember 2 weeks ago on the show, I took the Ravens first half as well. I just tend to usually go with their first half versus their full game, just because of what we've seen late in games from them. It's kind of the historic fourth quarter collapses that we saw against the Raiders. And that Bengals game was back and forth even in the first half, but still, even in that game, same fourth quarter tendencies where the game is close. And then even in overtime, when you thought the Bengals should be able to win it, they're kind of driving down to kick that field goal, and then there's that turnover. So it's just things that are building for the Ravens late in games that I don't always love to see, even though they did still pull out that Bengals win somehow. But I just tend to lean with their first half more. So I'm going to go Ravens here. I agree with all the points you said. I think they're going to be able to pass. I think they're going to be able to pick what they want to be able to do tonight.
I agree.
They can pass against this defense because aside from Winfield, I mean, we've just seen a secondary that's been torched. I mean, we just saw it last week. Yes, they won the game with 51 points to 27. They gave up 27. They gave up a really quick run against the Saints and Rattler making his first start. And then 36 points to the Falcons. Like, their secondary can either look really good or it just completely falls apart. And now you add in the element, now you have the first-ranked rushing defense. They're going to have to stack the box, which, by the way, stacking the box gets a lot more difficult when you have Vita Vea, one of the best run stoppers in the league, questionable, probably not going to play with a hamstring injury.
Yep.
So all of a sudden you're trying to stop the run, stacking the box, and you have your best run stopper injured. Now the secondary is going to be not as open, or there's probably even more guys open, I should say, because your secondary is going to be more in man coverage. You're not going to be able to drop as many safeties back. You're probably going to have to send a blitz because Todd Bowles loves the blitz. So I think the Ravens are going to be able to either pass all over them or just Derrick Henry's going to end with 25 carries again, and Lamar's going to end with 100 rushing yards. They're going to be able to it's pick your poison. And I think the Ravens have too many weapons on offense in this game to not at least be leading at halftime. But that Tampa Bay, we saw what they did in the second half against New Orleans. They can explode, and the Ravens can collapse. So I'm going first half, first full game.
I respect it. So are either you going to be taking the minus 7,000 of Derrick Henry to find the end zone again?
It's almost like it reminds me of Christian McCaffrey props about last year when it was like
100%.
At one point it was like minus 300, minus 350, and it's like, who's betting these? Like,
nope. The only way I think you can is like the 3+ touchdown. And even those odds are absolutely atrocious. If you think he's going to have a monster game, you could take him to get 3 touchdowns at plus 1,200. But when you take a look at anybody else's odds in the game, Lamar to score 3 is the second best odds. That's coming in at plus 5,500. Then the third best is Bucky Irving coming in at plus 6,000. So Derrick Henry at plus 1,200 has absolutely no value for 3 touchdowns. And then you take a look, maybe his 2 touchdowns has some value. Plus 250. Come on. They really are making it hard to take any props on rushing props for Baltimore. But on the same side, guys, for any receiver to get a touchdown in this game, it's over plus 150. So if you read this game a little bit like JD and I do, where you think this Ravens team is going to be able to move the ball through the air, there is some value on guys like maybe a Zay Flowers at a plus 160, Rashad Bateman plus 300. My guy, Isaiah Likely, who's been a stud all year, plus 350 for 1 touchdown. There's definitely some value to be made in some passing props. Going over to the comments, Ralph, I promise I didn't see this. Do we think Derrick Henry is going to get a touchdown? We just went over this. You have him in your fantasy. Great to have in fantasy. Yeah. Not great odds to bet right now. But if you do like him to score multiple times, you could always try maybe that plus 1,200 for 3. JD, what do you got for me?
Yeah, if you like the Ravens side, if you want to take a Derrick Henry touchdown and then parlay it with the Ravens, though,
let me look what those odds are.
That's probably not a bad price.
I'm getting it right now. The price for that is minus 103.
Yeah.
That's good. A way to get that incorporated. Very good idea, JD. That's a way that if you think that he's a lock to get a touchdown, which, let's be honest, he's been getting 1 a game every game, not a bad way to get the Ravens line down. So I definitely respect that angle. Gentlemen, we have one more game to get over. Up! Who put that up there? Yankees will win they won the AL and they will win the World Series. I don't know who did that. Producer in the back. Great job, Bill. Let's go Yankees. Over to the second Monday Night Football game we will be breaking down, which will be the LA Chargers, who are going to Arizona, taking on the Cardinals. Chargers, a bit of a surprise this year, but new head coach Jim Harbaugh has done a fantastic job instilling that Michigan culture in this LA Chargers team. They're a smash mouth, run the football, and defense first type of team. It's working out for them so far this year, as they are 3-2 and 2-1 on the road, taking on, like I said, the Cardinals, who are 2-4, and they are 1-2 on the road. Let's go over to Bet. We haven't started with you yet. What do you like in this game?
Okay, so this game for me is really it was sort of tough at the beginning, but then I completely flipped yesterday, actually, ahead of Monday night, and this is now one of my favorite plays tonight. The Cardinals on the money line. I really think this is a game where they get back on track and they get closer to 500. I still think it's going to be an interesting game, but I just think that you look at these two teams right now, and the record does not tell a story for Arizona. Like, they're 2-4. They don't look great record-wise, but their strength of schedule, like, it's grown to look like one of maybe, honestly, you compare it to any other team, I would say this is either first or second toughest schedule through the first 6 weeks of the season. Buffalo week 1, they nearly went outright. They lose by 1 possession, and they kind of blew that game because they were winning for a while. They blow out the Rams, which they should. The Rams are the worst team they've played so far this year. They give up only 20 points to Detroit, who we just saw go into Minnesota against what we thought was a very good defense, and just absolutely blow them apart. Put up, I think it was 31, and they only gave up 20 to them. 1 possession loss. And then they get blown out by the Commanders, but we've seen the Commanders, what they've done with their offense. So, but that was their worst loss this season. Beat San Fran, which, yes, they're under 500, but at the same point, it's still San Fran. And then they lose bad to Green Bay. But coming off that loss last week, I think people are kind of discounting this team for what they really are. Besides that game last week, they've played all their games pretty competitively this year, and they've looked a lot better than 2-4 in my eyes. We've seen Kyler Murray do well. We've seen this defense play well at times when they're not playing one of the best offenses in the NFL, because Green Bay and Washington were 2 very good offenses. And I just don't see it from the Chargers. Like, yes, they won last week against Denver. I'm still not sold on Bo Nix. They played close against the Chiefs, but I don't know. They just haven't played the same strength of schedule. And I just haven't seen as much explosiveness as I would like to see from them. And then you add in injury factors, because Joey Bosa is doubtful, one of their best defensive linemen.
Yep.
Still probably not going to play this week. He's been out 2 weeks now. And then you have wide receiver injuries against a Cardinals defense. It's actually played a lot better than I think most people are really paying attention to. No one's talking about the Cardinals defense, but I think they're actually playing really well. And you have wide receiver injuries for the Chargers. Vlad McConkey questionable and Quentin Johnson doubtful. So give me the Cardinals on the money line. I love them tonight.
Ben, you know I love you. That was some of the craziest shit I've ever heard you say. And I love you. This Cardinals team is terrible. I mean, you have a different opinion than I do, but they gave up 34 points to Green Bay. Not a great showing. They gave up 42 to Washington. Not a great showing.
EPA offenses in the NFL right now.
Because they're down by 1,000 every week, and they just have to keep throwing to get back in the game. I mean, the defense hasn't done anything to make me think they look good. In their last 3 games, they've given up 42, 23, and 34. The win against San Fran seems like a good win, but I mean, guys, is anybody still on the San Fran bandwagon right now? I mean, Brock Purdy is looking like he should have been Mr. Irrelevant this year. He does not look good in these games. I mean, they did still have a lot of weapons in that game, so it was an impressive win. But outside of that, this team doesn't impress me, and I think their defense is going to be the weak spot. Sean Murphy-Bunting is looking like he will not go today, and he is one of the few guys that you can actually name is on this defense. I watched a trivia show over the weekend, just a little inside the alpha world. I did watch a trivia show, and one of the questions was, outside of Sean Murphy-Bunting, name any player on the Cardinals defense. Fortunately, there's a Rutgers guys on there. Shout out Rutgers. You know, I'm in the gear. So I knew Max Melton. But outside that, off the top of your head, can you think of anybody on the Cardinals defense? Like legitimately, maybe more than 1 or 2 guys. It's tough because they're all a bunch of unknown guys. I do want to say before I go into my prediction in this game, Logan in the comments has me cracking up. It's a Harbaugh day today. We have both Harbaughs. Coaching did not get to bring that up, so I did want to drop that in there. But I am all over the Chargers, as you guys can probably assume by the way I went at Ben. Apologize about that, Ben, but I love this Chargers team under Jim Harbaugh.
You can make it a cluck bet.
We can. Oh, you want to do it?
We can make it a cluck bet.
You sure
I
about
want to
that?
know on cluck bets on the show.
You sure you want? Okay, let's do it. Cluck bet. When will you be back? Thursday? Friday?
Probably.
Friday, we will have a cluck off, either me or Ben, because I'm all over this Chargers team. I think they're going to run the ball down this Cardinals' throat on defense. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to get the ball a bunch in this game, and what that's going to do is open up the play action, and they have a quarterback who can take advantage of that type of game style with Justin Herbert. Give me the Chargers. I think they get this one done, and I'm very much high on this team. JD, do you agree with me? Do you agree with Ben? What do you got?
You know, as far as one thing, I definitely actually agree with actually you, Alpha. And that is one of the things that I do know for sure is the Cardinals defense is bad. They are. I have said this from actually week 1. And actually, like I also said that they were going to be an over team. Well, the overs have not been as good as we thought they would have because their offense just hasn't really been there. So yeah, that goes back to my actual notes here. What I have down here is the things that I do know, and that's the Cardinals defense. It is bad. Also, the Chargers defense, it's not bad, but I don't think it is as good as actually what everybody thinks. And then the things that I do not know is that it's actually that the Chargers offense and actually then the Cardinals, their offenses, like I just really don't know really what they are yet. Some like games they've done well, and other games haven't done well at all here.
They make no sense, this team. It's so hard to read them.
Yes. But the one thing that I do know is actually with these actually defenses though, this total is actually under the 45 mark, and I just don't think it should be. I have it close to 47 here. I have it at 46.8. So getting it under that key number there, we're at a 44 or 44 and a half now.
44.5. And it's juiced on the under.
I am actually going to have to go over that.
I like that. I think that's probably going to hit as well. So we have the Chargers, we have an over, we have the Cardinals. We have a lot of different plays on this game. So pick your poison, boys. You are able to get a play from us on this game. Any props you guys like in this game before we get into best bets? And guys, if anyone has any questions in the comments, please drop them in there. We only have these 2 games to break down. So if you have any other questions, we are happy to put them out there. Also, if you just want to yell at Ben, that's one of my favorite things to do. Please put that in there. I'm all aboard on doing that. But we will see what happens in this game. It's definitely a close game for a reason. The line is a -118 for the Chargers and a +100 for the Cardinals. So the books see it kind of like we see it. We're a little divided on it. So there will be more to come on Friday. So you'll either get to see my beautiful face clock yet again, or you'll get to see Ben's beautiful face clock for the first time. Fellas, for the breakdown, That's going to do it. But like I said, anyone have any props they like? Ben, I'll start with you.
I do like a little Trey McBride action. The Chargers are giving up the 8th most receiving yards to tight ends per game, and they're actually giving up the 3rd most targets, 8 targets per game. You're telling me if Trey McBride sees 8 targets, because he's going to play all the snaps at tight end. You're telling me if he sees 8 targets tonight, he can't eclipse his line of 50? Like, I think I love that spot for him. He's sitting at 51.5. And this is just a game where, as you expect, I think, with the over and everything and points probably coming in this game, there should be a lot of passing. So I like Trey McBride, assuming that the Cardinals are going to have the ball a lot, because he had 96 yards last week, 53 the week before. He's passed this in 3 of his last 4 games, and he's seen 8 targets last game, 9 targets in the game before, and the Chargers are allowing an average of 8 targets allowed to tight ends. So just considering all that, if he gets 6 receptions out of it, something like that, he should be able to easily pass 50.
I like it. Over to the comments again. Logan, this is from the first game, but he likes Cade Otton receptions. I had to click this because, of course, last week was the first week that I didn't have a parlay in there that had Cade Otton to score a touchdown. And what does he do in the 3rd quarter? He freaking scored a touchdown. So Cade Otton's starting to get hot. He had a big week last week. That could continue. Joe is saying Harbaugh is the much better coach, too. Which coach, Joe? There are 2 Harbaughs coaching of the 4 teams tonight. We love that, but I'm assuming you're talking about Jim Harbaugh. I do think he's the better coach of the 2 here. If I were to pick, you guys know I love my anytime touchdown scoring props. The one that I'm looking at in this game is going to be Ladd McConkey at plus 230. He's been getting a lot of shares and a lot of action the last couple games. They're targeting him a ton. If he's able to take it deep on this team, he will be able to get at least one in there. Assuming he plays. If he doesn't play, you get the money back, so it's no big deal. But I do think he is going to be able to go tonight, and I would take a look at him at a prop because I do think that this Cardinals defense will get torched a bit in the air, and someone's got to get a receiving touchdown, and they have a lot of guys that they're expecting to have rushing touchdowns. So he's the best odds of a receiver in this game. If you like any other receiving options, Josh Palmer's coming in at a plus 330. He's been great as well, so he could be someone you would target in the passing game as well. Yeah. Any props from you, JD, before we dive into best bets?
You know what? I've been sitting here running some numbers here, and going back to that first game, that play that we talked about, that actually Derrick Henry, his actual touchdown prop with the Ravens on the money line, getting that at minus 103. I actually really like that. I definitely like the actual over there more, but I am going to play that.
I like that. I think that was a really good find as well. I may tell you a bit too, because we all know Derrick Henry is going to score. It just depends if they're going to win. He's been doing it every week. So odds are he will score. I definitely respect that play. Fellas, before we do dive into best bets, I quickly want to talk about the basketball season special. You all know tomorrow is opening night. We return with everyone's favorite New York Knicks taking on the Boston Celtics. You can get all the college basketball picks, all the NBA picks for MoneyBall metrics for the entire season. It's looking like for just $89. So make sure you guys tap in. Make sure you get in there. MoneyBall Metrics is the best Discord out there with the best cappers out there and the best environment to be in. Get in there. Get in the comments. Chat it up. We're all in there having a great time. It's where you want to be. So yet again, best promotion I've seen for NBA season is this one brought to you by MoneyBall Metrics. So make sure you guys do tap in, get that promo, and let's keep cashing and winning together. Fellas, it's time we go into our best bets for the day. Ben, we are going to start with you. What do you like today?
All right. My best bets are going to be Ravens first half. Like I already said earlier, I do think they can jump out to that early lead. Bucks just seem like a second half team this year. We literally just saw it last week. Ravens are the opposite. So going with that one. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson. I didn't talk about this one in the prop session because I was reserving it for the best bets. But I'm taking Lamar Jackson over 52.5 rushing yards tonight. Todd Bowles, I was talking about this in my breakdown. He's a blitz-heavy team. I know everyone expects Derrick Henry to get all the carries, but we've seen Lamar Jackson, obviously is one of the top rushing offenses in the NFL. Lamar Jackson's playing like an MVP through the air, but also on the ground. He did only have 40 rushing yards last week, but he's passed this line in 4 of the previous 5 games before that, 4 of 6 total this season. And I think if he sees 10 plus carries, which he has seen in 4-6 games this year, he can get over 5 yards per carry because he's averaging 6.3 this year. And the Bucks have been giving up rushing yards to quarterbacks because they are such a blitz heavy offense. So I really do think that it's a good spot to back back Lamar Jackson, especially with what else I mentioned in the breakdown, Vita Vea being out, because that just brings another element that they can expose with the rushing game. And, they can't give, I guess they could give Derrick Henry 30 carries, but, assuming they don't, at least a lot of those are going to go to Lamar Jackson. So that's going to be my favorite prop for you guys that I was reserving. And then Cardinals money line, I'm going to close it out with that one. I just think their strength of schedule has had people look down on them too much, and they can win this one, get to 3-4.
Quack, quack, Mr. Ben. Start practicing that quack, my brother. I'll go next, fellas. My best bets are pretty going to be straightforward in this one. I am taking the Ravens minus the 3.5. We are taking the Ravens minus 3.5. And we are all over the Chargers on the money line at minus 118. We're going over to JD. What do you got today?
Yeah. Tonight we want points, and more points. Give me the Ravens and the Bucks. Found a 49.5 at minus 115. And then in the Chargers Cardinals, give me the over 44 at minus 110.
Love that. Let me give you all a recap of today's best bets. We saw your comments. We saw them all. You guys wanted a graphic that you could look at. So here they are. Here is going to be the best bets for the team. I will recap them. Mine are Chargers money line and Ravens minus 3.5. JD's is Ravens Bucks over 49.5. And the over in the Chargers Cardinals. We want points. And Ben is on the Ravens first half minus 2.5. Lamar Jackson over 52.5 rushing yards and Cardinals money line. I'm going to leave the graphic up for about another 5 seconds. But fellas, it's been another fantastic show. We broke down both games. 2 great games to be had tonight, and we even get another cluck bet, which everyone's looking forward to. And somehow, JD was able to not get involved. He knows what he's doing. I know what I'm doing. We'll see if Ben knows what he's doing. Fellas, it's been another great show. We will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. JD, say goodbye to the people.
Cheers to a great week.
God, nothing better than that sound when you pop that bottle. Ben, smile. We're getting the hell out of here. We'll be here tomorrow. We appreciate every single one.